Hey guys, Toby Morrison here from the CFS Health Centre here in Melbourne, Australia. And today I want to talk about a very important topic which I'm seeing a lot of patients talk about, which is recovery from chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME. And one of the things that I'm a little bit concerned about at the moment with patients is their impatience on improving. Now, what you have to remember with chronic fatigue syndrome, it doesn't just develop overnight. It's something that creeps up on you over a period of time, and eventually after 6 months of symptoms and suffering, you are then diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME. Okay? The problem is recovery does take time. Now, you're going to hear lots of different things from lots of different people. Now, you're looking at a guy right now who has recovered from chronic fatigue syndrome, and I'm proof that it is possible. And I don't say that to boost my ego or to show you that I'm better or whatever like that, but I share that with you because the proof is in the pudding. There's nothing more gratifying or nothing more true than the person themselves who can speak the truth. Okay, so I can't lie. This is who I am. What I want to share with you is that with recovery, it is different for every single individual. And this is why I state to all my patients, all my clients, is you should never compare yourself to anyone else. And people find it really hard not to do that, because what happens is, they'll see someone improve and go, well, if they improved, why didn't I improve? Or they recovered quicker than me, or, I'm doing more than them and I'm still feeling worse. Why is this happening to me? Now, there is no issue with that. The issue is that helping you get better? The answer is no, okay? So initially, we should never compare ourselves to anyone else but our current self. And that includes comparing yourself to your old self, which is probably the person that got you to where you're at today. Overdoing it, pushing yourself, having a virus or an illness that then occurs into CFS itself. So it is really important that you, one, concentrate on yourself, but two, realize and understand that this illness is not straightforward and that there is so many different reasons, and it's a multifaceted illness that really affects people on a holistic level. So, on one hand, there might be someone who's got chronic fatigue syndrome, but not only that, has suffered a relationship loss, has suffered family losses, over a period of time, has suffered other health illnesses, have been in a really stressful job for a long time, has had traumatic events happening in their life, has had an unhealthy diet, the list goes on. Now, that person cannot be compared to an athlete who was struck down with glandular fever and had an overtraining syndrome, which was pushing his body or her body to the limits and then eventually getting ill. Okay, the two stories are completely different, and this is why you can't compare this illness with anything, because it is really individualized, and it's really important that there is an individualized approach to recovery. And really all that matters is that we're working on improving our overall health, because that's all that really matters, right? We all want to get better, we all want to improve, which is fantastic, and this is what I went through when I was ill 10 years ago. I didn't have my focus on the long term of getting better instantly, waking up one day getting better instantly. And this is another question we get asked a lot here at the centre with my coaches and myself, is like, Toby, did you wake up one day and automatically feel better? The answer is no. Restoring health, because that's what chronic fatigue syndrome has done to you, is really given you poor health, sleep, inadequate, your nutrition's inadequate, muscle conditions inadequate, deteriorations, adequate, symptoms are flared up, loss of memory, lack of concentration, brain fog, swollen glands, sore throat, muscle pains and aches, the list goes on. So it's one of those things where, we need to really focus on restoring health on a holistic level, because until we do that, nothing will really improve. We can talk about mitochondria all day, we can talk about cellular function, we can talk about brain function if we want, but you can have the healthiest diet in the world, you can have the perfect movement program, you can have the best mindset in the world, but until your sleep's right, then nothing really is going to work for you. Yeah, you might find some improvements, but here at the Health Centre, we advocate long-term health, long-term recovery. And you may have seen some success stories, posted on our Facebook page at CFS Health, or my other page at Toby Morrison Health and Lifestyle. It's not a mistake why that's happening, because we're focusing on long-term health and long-term improvement. Because remember, health is a forever thing. We can't just get healthy and then stop doing what we did to get healthy, because if we do, we're shooting ourselves in the foot and then we're going to go back to square one. And this is something that I've learned through my journey when I got better. Sometimes you feel like you don't need to keep working on your health. Because I'm so passionate about what I do, I like to help as many people as I can. But unfortunately, as you know, because you've got chronic fatigue syndrome, you're very good at helping everyone else but yourself. And this is something we need to learn on helping ourselves first in order to help others second. Okay? Because when we help ourselves anyway, everyone around us, intermediate family, and friends, then they're already lifted by your presence of health and vitality. Okay? So again, what I suggest with you, or what I invite you to do and offer to you, is really realize that recovery is a long-term process, and it's an individualized process. You have to remember that there's certain steps of recovery that happen. Initially, when diagnosis happen, there usually comes that shock, or that internal feeling of hopelessness and victimization within yourself, that this may be my life forever. And I went through that for 2 years. I suffered really hard for 2 years, going, I'm never going to be able to run again, I'm never going to be able to play again, I'm never going to be able to feel good again. And it wasn't until 2 years after I finally realized that I was a victim of my own problem, and that I wasn't taking responsibility of my health. The other thing I realized was, through this period of time, my beautiful family, they spent thousands of dollars and traveled all around Australia to give me the best help there was. Now, even the best help didn't really help me, because the thing is, we were putting the responsibility in someone else to fix me. And whilst there was a little bit of improvement, 10 to 15%, which is great, there was no overall improvement. Now, the reason why was because I wasn't taking responsibility of my own health and my own self-care on a daily basis. And when I had that light bulb moment for myself, which was 2 years into my recovery, everything changed for me. And every single day I would wake up to, no matter how bad the pain was and the suffering, as the bad night sleeps, the negative mindset, the feelings of hopelessness and depression and anxiety, I got up and did what I had to do. And it's not about pushing through, because we know that pushing through isn't good for people with CFS. We want to restore health and rebuild slowly but surely and get our energy back. And what I can tell you is, when I took responsibility of myself, I started to make really big gains and improvements. And it wasn't overnight, but it was progressive, week by week. And I started here and I built up slowly but surely. I got to the top and finally realized that, hey, I've made so much improvement. And I used to congratulate myself and actually say, wow, this is how far I've come. Now, we can either fill up our glass and keep it full, or we can always look at the empty glass and go, there could be more, I should be better, I can't do this, I can't do that. Let me tell you one thing. When I was really bad, I could only walk 1 minute per day. Otherwise I would collapse. And I remember being down the street, I was standing there, and a man in a wheelchair went past me. And this is when I was feeling sorry for myself, and I thought, this is so unfair, why me? I can't believe I can't get better. It should happen to someone who's mean in the world, not someone who's nice and means well. Anyway, this man in a wheelchair went by me. He had no legs whatsoever, and he was completely disabled. Anyway, as I was in my little pity party with my hood on, I was walking down the street, young teenager, feeling sorry for myself, and this disabled man looked up at me and smiled at me. And he went past in his wheelchair, he went straight past me, and I was still in kind of that numb kind of feeling of going, I'm never going to get better. And I turned around, and as I turned around, he kind of looked back and smiled at me again. And it just struck me right then and there that, hold on a second, that man didn't have a choice whether he had legs or not. He didn't get that choice. And from that moment on was the moment when I realized that actually I do have a choice to how I think I feel. And so I went home that night and I wrote down what I was grateful for, what filled my glass up. And the first thing I wrote down, even though I could barely use them, was my arms and legs, you know. And from there, it built on, you know. And I started focusing on what I could do, not what I can't do. And this is where recovery starts, is focusing on what you can do, not what you can't do. Now, again, you have to have a holistic approach in recovery, otherwise it is not sustainable, okay? Self-care is healthcare. Your doctor is not responsible for helping you get healthy. Your doctor is responsible for treating your pain and your symptoms. Now that is good short term, but long term that is not what's going to get you better. And this is the transition of pure health, is where we go from symptom management, health management, to then health progression and health wellness, and living your way of living and health and vitality. And it's different for everyone. It doesn't have to be the same. But what I invite you to do right now is ask yourself, what is it that I really want? And what is health to me? Like, what does that mean to me? How does it look? Does it look like, you know, hanging out with friends more? Does it look like it's, you know, going for a run and feeling great? You need to have that vision of what you want to be like, and then you can ask yourself, what is my next step to help myself get there? And of course, you know, you've got to stop looking for quick fix answers, because there are none. You know, the quickest way to get there is by looking within and taking responsibility of your health and starting to progress from there. You know, one of the things that we teach in our program at our center and on our online program is that if we avoid doing the bad things, like the things that don't help us, then we can start to do the right things. And we initially do a health assessment, and we really focus on what's not working, so then we can start to do what is working and what is going to work and what is going to help us. And once we get to that space for each individual, then you can really progress and move forwards in your recovery. So this video is just a short video, one, hopefully to inspire you and for you to realize that you're listening and talking to someone who is fully recovered from chronic fatigue syndrome, who was told he wouldn't be ever, and even myself, I thought that I wouldn't be able to either. However, you know, this video is really more important for you to understand that no two stories are ever the same. And you always have to factor in other lifestyle factors to the recovery, okay? So again, give yourself a bit of love, be patient, do the right things, avoid the wrong things, and I would definitely suggest you start to surround yourself with people who bring you up. One of the things that I see on the online world is that there's all these support groups that aren't that supportive. And please don't take offense to this. This is just from what I've seen, you know, and from clients who have joined our online program who say this is the most positive experience they've ever had. Because when I was sick and I you know, saw all these support groups, and I went in there with so much hope and belief, I'm like, wow, this is going to be great. And then boom, I got shot down for thinking that it was possible to get better. Or, you know, oh no, you're just lying, you never had chronic fatigue. You know, that's not supportive at all. So avoid anything that brings you down or gives you fear or anxiety or makes you feel sad, because that is not going to help with your recovery at all. Okay, you want to surround yourself with one, the people around you believe in you and know that you can get there, and two, you need to start believing in yourself. Okay, we offer heaps of free advice and help on our website at cfshealth.com, but more importantly on YouTube there's heaps of videos with thousands and thousands of views that have literally changed people's lives, because they've taken the responsibility out of the knowledge and inspiration which is shared from myself and my other health coaches with Raya and Ash, you know, sharing their stories, their experiences and their knowledge. And I just want to tell you one thing: stop focusing on illness and start focusing on wellness. Because if we keep focusing on illness and keep talking about it and keep doing it, what do you think happens? We stay there. So I really invite you to start thinking wellness, start thinking about how I can help myself get better. How can I help improving my strength and stamina without making me feel worse? How can I get more energy in and exert less energy out? You know, start to think about all these things. For the guys in the online program, there's hundreds of you. You should log back into the program and make sure you're doing the right things. and take full responsibility of yourself. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. Recovery is one of the hardest things that most people go through in their life. But what I will say is that recovery is hard, but not recovering is harder. And I know how hard it is because I went through it for 5 years, and I see it every single day. I'm sitting in my centre right now, you know, and I've seen over 1,000 individual patients over my time of coaching. You know, I've seen people suffer for 20 years. I've seen people bedbound for 3, 4, 5 years, and now they're living their life again. So the problem is you just don't hear about those stories because they're better now and they're moving on with their life. They don't want to talk about it. They just want to get on with it. I had a light bulb moment at the age of 16 where I wanted to dedicate myself to inspiring thousands of people with chronic fatigue syndrome and showing them that it was possible. And that's what I'm here today to show you and share with you in this video, is that it can be possible for you too. So I invite you to go to our website, www.cfshealth.com. If you need that extra help and support and guidance and someone, if you need extra help and support, we offer that through our online program. We do one-on-one coaching. We run inpatient programs here in Melbourne, Australia, and outpatient one-on-one programs as well. So really what we do is focusing on a holistic approach to help you individually to get to where you want to be. You know, I know one thing for sure is this illness is hard, and it's very hard to do it on your own. So you know, I wish 10 years ago there was something like this for me, and this is why I created this, because this is exactly what I needed when I was sick and unwell with chronic fatigue syndrome. So I hope that helps, and we will see you soon. Adios.